Alright gamers, let's be real. The PS5 has been out for a while now, and while everyone talks about the big AAA blockbusters like God of War Ragnarok or Spider-Man 2, there are so many incredible games that slipped under the radar. These are the kind of titles that might not have sold millions or dominated headlines, but they offer amazing gameplay, unique ideas, and experiences you seriously don't want to miss. Today on Playverse Gaming, I'm counting down 10 PS5 hidden gems that you absolutely need to play. And trust me, some of these will surprise you. Before we dive in, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to Playverse Gaming, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my future gaming deep dives. Let's get started. Lost Judgment. Man, if you love detective stories with a mix of action, Lost Judgment is a treat. It's basically a spin-off of the Yakuza series, but it has its own flavor. You're Takayuki Yagami, a private detective who ends up investigating a case that spirals into corruption, bullying, and a whole lot of twists. What I love about it is the balance. One moment you're chasing leads through gritty streets, the next you're brawling in dynamic combat sequences, and then out of nowhere you're skateboarding through Yokohama. The PS5 version looks gorgeous, with slick visuals and super fast load times. The side cases are where the game really shines. Some are funny, some heartbreaking, all of them memorable. Honestly, it's a game that blends narrative depth with over-the-top fun, and I feel like not enough people gave it a chance. If you love detective dramas with a cinematic edge, this is a gem waiting for you. Guardians of the Galaxy, I know, this one had a Marvel name attached, but a lot of people skipped it because of the Avengers game flop. Huge mistake, because Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the best narrative-driven experiences on PS5. You only play as Star-Lord, but the banter between the Guardians is non-stop and feels like watching a Marvel movie, but even better because you're part of it. The combat is underrated too, mixing third-person shooting with team-based abilities where you command Rocket, Groot, Drax, and Gamora. And man, the soundtrack? Absolute fire, full of classic rock hits that fit perfectly with the Guardians' chaotic vibe. What makes this game shine is the story. It's emotional, hilarious, and surprisingly heartfelt. Honestly, I think it's one of the most overlooked Marvel games ever. And if you love narrative games with personality, you've got to play it.
We can do this together. Fucking great, Quill!
Outriders didn't have the best launch, but now that it's stable, it's an awesome co-op looter shooter that deserves a second look. Think of it like Destiny meets Gears of War, with big guns, brutal powers, and a dark sci-fi world. You play as an Altered, basically a super-powered soldier with crazy abilities, teleporting, setting enemies on fire, draining health, you name it. The gameplay loop is addicting, especially when you team up with friends. What I really enjoy is that it's not just about grinding for loot. The campaign has a solid story about colonizing a hostile alien planet, and it keeps you hooked. The combat feels weighty and explosive, and when you chain your powers with your squad, it's pure chaos in the best way. Honestly, if you gave up on this game early, now's the time to jump back in because it's a blast on PS5. Solar Ash. If you want something stylish, surreal, and different, Solar Ash is a game you can't skip. It's from the creators of Hyper Light Drifter, and it feels like skating through a cosmic dream. You're Rey, gliding through massive alien landscapes, fighting huge creatures, and trying to save your world from collapsing into a black hole. The movement is what makes it shine. It's fluid, fast, and feels amazing to control. The art style is colorful and vibrant, which is such a nice contrast to most dark and gritty games. The bosses are these towering, almost Shadow of the Colossus-like battles, where you scale and dismantle them in fast-paced sequences. It's honestly one of the most unique games on PS5, and while it's short, it's unforgettable. If you want a hidden gem that feels like nothing else you've played, this is it.
Evil West. This one is criminally underrated. Evil West is basically a mix of God of War combat and Wild West vampire hunting. Yeah, you heard me right. Cowboy monster hunters. You play as Jesse Rentier, a gunslinger with electrified gauntlets who punches and blasts his way through hordes of supernatural creatures. The combat is meaty, brutal, and ridiculously fun. You can shoot, melee, combo, and electrocute enemies into dust. The game isn't trying to reinvent the wheel, but it does old school action so well that you can't put it down. The environments range from dusty western towns to creepy gothic castles, all packed with atmosphere. Honestly, if you miss those straightforward, action-packed games from the PS3 360 era, but with modern polish, Evil West is gonna scratch that itch hard.
Flesh eaters took your husband.
Weird West is another one that flew under the radar, but for totally different reasons. This one's an immersive sim with a top-down perspective, blending RPG mechanics with choice-driven gameplay. The weird part? It's full of supernatural horror, werewolves, witches, and all kinds of strange creatures lurking in the desert. What I love about it is how reactive the world is. Choices you make early on come back to haunt you later, and the freedom to approach missions however you want makes it super replayable. One run you might go guns blazing, another you sneak through shadows, or even use magic. It's gritty, dark, and creative, with that unique Devolver Digital charm. Definitely not for everyone, but if you love games where your decisions actually matter, this is a PS5 gem you need to try.
With different persuasions. You can use them smarts real quiet.
Crew Motorfest, when people talk racing on PS5, they usually mention Gran Turismo 7, but the Crew Motorfest is the underdog that deserves way more love. It's basically Ubisoft's take on Forza Horizon, set in a vibrant Hawaiian open world. The freedom here is insane. Cars, bikes, boats, planes, you can swap between them instantly. The festival vibe makes everything feel alive, with events happening all around you. The graphics on PS5 are stunning, especially the way the island looks at sunset or during a storm. The game encourages exploration and just having fun, instead of being overly serious. And the multiplayer is a blast if you've got friends to join. If you want a racing game that's fun, colorful, and not just about lap times, Crew Motorfest is the one to grab.
Trying these playlists out for you is what I call a perk of the job. Right in the center of all the action, racing these Japanese drift masters. Dr. Olivia Blanche. I'm a police
RoboCop Rogue City is way better than anyone expected. It's a first-person shooter where you play as RoboCop himself, and it nails that heavy, robotic feel perfectly. You're slow, methodical, and absolutely devastating. Every time you fire that Auto 9 pistol, it feels powerful. What surprised me is how much story and dialogue there is. You're not just blasting criminals, you're investigating, making moral choices, and actually shaping how events play out in old Detroit. The game nails the tone of the original movies, complete with brutal action and satirical humor. And on PS5, it looks sharp, with detailed environments and great lighting. For fans of classic action movies or anyone who wants something different from the usual FPS, this game is such a cool surprise.
Severely neglected is your human side, your brain.
We must smash that thing.
I've heard people refer to you by different names.
Hey there, Murphy.
Fire at will.
I'm curious to hear which one you prefer.
My name is
Killer thing. Why do you hate Cedar
The
Hill?
casting of Frank Stone. This one's from Supermassive Games, the same devs behind Until Dawn and the Dark Pictures anthology. The casting of Frank Stone is another cinematic horror experience, and it's easily one of their creepiest yet. It mixes interactive storytelling with choices that drastically affect who survives and who doesn't. The story revolves around a horrifying murder spree tied to a mysterious figure named Frank Stone, and the atmosphere is thick with dread.
On PS5, the graphics are incredibly realistic. Characters look lifelike, environments are chilling, and the tension is constant. If you're into horror games that feel like you're playing through a movie, this is absolutely a hidden gem worth checking out. Plus, you can play with friends and argue over decisions, which makes it even more fun.
There was a whole string of disappearances. Kidnappings, really. Murders.
So what was this guy's name? I tell stories. I'm not in.
Immortals Fenyx Rising. This game got overshadowed by bigger Ubisoft titles, but it's honestly one of the most charming open-world games on PS5. Immortals Fenyx Rising is basically Assassin's Creed meets Breath of the Wild, with Greek mythology as its playground. You play as Fenyx, exploring a vibrant world filled with gods, monsters, puzzles, and dungeons. The tone is lighthearted, with funny narration from Zeus and Prometheus, which makes it super refreshing compared to darker, more serious games. The combat is fun, the puzzles are clever, and the world is just a joy to explore. It's colorful, accessible, and packed with content. Honestly, I think this is one of Ubisoft's most underrated titles in years, and if you skipped it because it looked too cartoony, you're missing out on an absolute gem.
A hero.
Now we're talking. You want this glory? Seize it. May the light of 1,000 forges guide your way. Typhon grows stronger by the hour. I swear to you that soldier shall be our salvation.
And there you have it, 10 PS5 hidden gems that you absolutely need to play. These games might not have gotten the spotlight they deserved, but each one offers something special, whether it's deep storytelling, unique gameplay, or just plain fun. Which of these have you played, and which ones are you adding to your backlog right now? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing your picks. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Playverse Gaming, and ring the bell for more gaming content. Until next time, keep playing and keep discovering those hidden gems.